Marty Saul and Kate Sullivan report weeknights on 7.
On January 20th, George Bush will ascend to the most powerful office on earth, the presidency of the United States. The nation he will lead faces tremendous opportunity and enormous problems. A huge budget deficit, poverty, drugs, and crime are some of the realities the new president must deal with. Can he keep the pledge he made in accepting the nomination?
I seek the presidency to build a better America. It's that simple and that big.
What must he do? And what must we do to bring about a better America? This week on The World Tomorrow, America, what direction now?
This week on The World Tomorrow, Richard Ames.
On January 20th, on the steps of the Capitol in Washington, D.C., George Herbert Walker Bush will take the oath of office. He will become the 41st President of the United States of America. He has called the presidency the most difficult job on earth, and he takes office at a critical point in the history of his country. Millions of people in the United States and in every country on earth are waiting to see what direction America takes now. The decisions the new president and his administration make over the next 4 years are crucial in deciding if the United States of America can maintain her position as leader of the free world. After the Second World War, much of the world was devastated. Germany was in ruins. Japan was shattered. Britain was battered and bankrupt. France prostrate after the years of occupation. The Soviet Union had exhausted itself repelling the Nazi invasion. Only America was strong. Her cities were not bombed. She had sent her soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines to help liberate Europe and Asia. But the war had not come to her shores. Her industrial machine was intact, her prestige and power unrivaled. And she alone had the atom bomb. Never had a nation such an opportunity to shape the future. In 1949, the noted historian Henry Steele Commager wrote, "In large measure, the destinies of mankind are, for the moment, committed to this people. No ambitions for power, they have achieved power. Not eager for responsibility, they have been unable to escape responsibility. Only the future will reveal whether they will find in their heritage, their history, and their character the resources to quicken their minds, embolden their spirits, fire their imagination, lift up their hearts, and fit them for their duties and destiny." But has America lived up to this challenge and responsibility? Many looking at the problems facing this nation, both at home and abroad, would say no. And how President Bush and his administration handle the crises our nation now faces may alter the balance of power in the world and the course of history. That's a strong statement. Some might say it's too dramatic. But there are times in history when the fate of many nations is poised in the balance, and this is such a time. We've heard much about the problems the new president must face: the national debt, drugs, urban poverty, the homeless, education. But these are only the symptoms of a far more serious problem, a crisis of national will and strength of character. The American people tend to look at their president as the guarantor of the nation's values. But this is a task that is beyond the power of one man, even if he's backed by a most capable administration. The strength and resolution of a nation is only as strong as the will of its people. So as the new president takes office, we, the people of America, must be aware of our responsibility and our role in determining what the future of America will be. Most Americans don't like to think of their nation as an empire, but they have had at least as much impact on history as did the Romans, the Greeks, or any of the other great empire builders of the past. America is a great military power. American forces based in Europe are the backbone of the Atlantic Alliance. In Asia, American bases play a vital role in the security of the region. With the Iran-Iraq War, the United States was among the first to establish a major naval presence in the Persian Gulf. The American nuclear umbrella counterbalances the awesome nuclear arsenal of the Soviet Union. America is a great economic power. Although it's in trouble, the American economy is still the most powerful in the world. Many still want to invest in America, to sell here, and to buy here. American agriculture is still considered the world's most efficient and productive. Many millions of people around the world rely on the fertile fields of America and the generosity of her people for their daily bread. The dollar is the currency standard of international trade. Financial decisions made in Washington in the next few months will affect far more than the American pocket. It will affect nations all around the world. America is a cultural force. The American way of life, whether for good or bad, has influenced nearly every other nation. All the world knows how Americans live, what they eat, what they wear, and what they listen to. American fashion and fads have set the pace and the style of 20th century life. The American standard of living is the one by which other nations measure their progress. The president of such a nation, therefore, has a heavy responsibility on his shoulders. But our newly elected president takes office at a time when all is not well in America. The nation is still, at this time, the most powerful on earth. But does it still stand for those values which made it great?
And I wonder sometimes if we've forgotten who we are, that we're the people who sundered a nation rather than allow a sin called slavery. And we're the people who rose from the ghettos and the deserts, and we weren't saints, but we lived by standards. We celebrated the individual, but we weren't self-centered. We were practical, but we didn't live only for material things. We believed in getting ahead, but blind ambition wasn't our way.
Yes, there was a time when blind ambition wasn't our way. But unfortunately, many feel that it's now becoming our way of life. Greed and selfishness permeate our society. We've come to expect corruption, lying, and cheating. We're constantly disappointed by those we relied on to hold public office. Honesty and integrity are becoming rare commodities. The land of the free seems to be turning into a nation of fraud and deception. The outcome of this attitude is evident throughout our society. We are witnessing the breakdown of the family. Our divorce rate is the highest in the world. Domestic violence is on the rise as we see more and more battered wives and abused children. The statistics on teenage pregnancy and teen abortion are appalling. Many communities are faced with the tragedy of teen suicide. The ranks of the poor are growing. 1 out of every 4 children is born into a home that is below the national poverty level. In the land of plenty, the plight of the homeless is a national disgrace. America has more cases of AIDS than any other developed nation. And the drug crisis, spearheaded by cocaine and crack addiction, is ruining the lives of millions of Americans. Our homes are not safe. Statistically, 1 in 4 were broken into in 1987. America leads the world in crimes of violence, aggravated assault, rape, and murder. And over 1 million Americans are convicted criminals, by far the highest of any Western nation. How is it that a nation founded on high standards and ideals is seemingly headed in the opposite direction? When we reflect back on America's history, we realize it has had a concept of national greatness, of the need to live up to a higher standard. In the 1840s, for example, we had the idea that America, in some way, was chosen by God to be his instrument. Even earlier, in 1783, the president of Harvard University, Ezra Stiles, described the new nation as God's American Israel. It wasn't uncommon for the pioneers to compare their experience to that of the chosen people of the Bible, ancient Israel. And this concept has remained with us throughout the history of our nation. It was just 35 years ago that America added to the Pledge of Allegiance the words, one nation under God. A nation under God has a responsibility to God. And if it doesn't willingly live up to that responsibility, it will be judged by God. Now let's notice the similarities between ancient Israel and America today. The prophet Hosea brought this rebuke from God against Israel. His word should ring in our ears today. Hear the word of the Lord, you children of Israel, for the Lord brings a charge against the inhabitants of the land. There is no truth or mercy or knowledge of God in the land. By swearing and lying, killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break all restraint with bloodshed after bloodshed. Isn't this a tragic description of America today? Certainly there are millions of decent, hard-working, God-fearing people in this country. But violence, greed, lying, and adultery have come to represent the standard by which so many of us live. Why is this? You can't blame these problems on previous administrations, or the state of the economy, or the greenhouse effect, or whatever. This is our fault. These are the problems of a society that lacks good character. So to add to the burdens of office, America's new president has said that he wants to do something about the moral drift of this nation.
A president must be many things. He must be a shrewd protector of America's interests, and he must be an idealist who leads those who move for a freer and more democratic planet. And he must see to it that government intrudes as little as possible in the lives of the people, and yet remember that it is right and proper that a nation's leader take an interest in the nation's character.
This should be good news to all people in America who want to see a kinder, gentler, more moral nation as leader of the free world. If President Bush intends to lead this country so that it can be trusted, admired, and respected, then he deserves the support of the American people. The world needs a nation like this. Is it possible to have such a nation of strong character in this age of cynicism and materialism? In the second half of today's program, we'll discuss what can be done to make it possible. But first, I want to offer you this free booklet, The United States and Britain in Prophecy. It's a fact of history that the British people in the 19th century and the American people in the 20th century rose suddenly and dramatically to power and influence. Britain built the greatest empire. America became the greatest single nation. Why was this? Luck? Good diplomacy? Military superiority? Or was there something else guiding their destiny? There are many books that will tell you about the United States and Britain in history, or geography, or economics. But none I know of, except this one, clearly explains the role of Bible prophecy in the history of these nations. This booklet, The United States and Britain in Prophecy, will show you the astonishing reason behind the rise to power and influence of these two great nations. The prophetic identity of the American and British people is the missing vital key to help you understand what's ahead for you and your family, as well as for our nation. Be sure to request your free copy of The United States and Britain in Prophecy. And if you're not already a subscriber, we'll be sending you a free subscription to the Plain Truth magazine for as long as you like. The Plain Truth is a magazine that helps you grasp the significance of world events as well as social and family issues from a biblical perspective. I'll be offering this literature again at the end of today's program. Now let's continue with our look at what direction America will now take. What is it that makes any nation or any people great? Is it the size of its army, the extent of its territory, or the strength of its economy? Certainly these are major factors. But ultimately, every nation in history that has relied only on its physical strength for its greatness has declined and fallen. What about America? Most of us have never known our nation as anything but a rich superpower. But the lessons of history show us that it may not always continue to be a superpower. There is ample evidence around the world that great nations are not guaranteed their power and influence forever. Could the United States go the way of the empires of the past? Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome, the Aztecs and Incas, Spain, even Britain? All these nations once dominated their world, wielding power and influence over vast domains. Today, not one of them is a superpower. Some are even poverty-stricken, underdeveloped third-world countries struggling just to survive in the modern world. Some nations collapse suddenly and dramatically. Others decline slowly, painfully withering away. No, it's not military might or economic power that guarantees greatness. It is the character of its people. This profound statement in the book of Proverbs confirms that. Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. Any nation that has become great and powerful needs to realize one of the key lessons of the Bible, that the ultimate destiny of any people depends on their relationship with God. Many of the early leaders of the American Republic deeply realized that the success and prosperity of their nation would be dependent on their relationship with God. The American statesman Daniel Webster gave this sobering warning. If we abide by the principles taught in the Bible, our country will go on prospering and to prosper. But if we in our posterity neglect its instructions and authority, no man can tell what sort of catastrophe may overwhelm us and bury all our glory in profound obscurity. We need to think about it. That sobering statement is even more relevant today than it was when Daniel Webster made it over 100 years ago. And President Abraham Lincoln admonished our forefathers and the citizens of his time, it is the duty of nations as well as of men to own their dependence upon the overruling power of God and to recognize the sublime truth announced in the Holy Scriptures and proven by all history, that those nations only are blessed whose God is the Lord. When the 13 colonies declared their independence and became a nation, they had a unique opportunity for a new beginning, a new land, limitless horizons, a bold new idea of government. The tyranny, prejudice, and old ways of Europe could be left behind. America was founded on the principles of liberty and justice for all. It was the new promised land. Nothing like this had been seen since the children of Israel made their covenant with God before they entered their promised land. A nation, any nation, that shows by its way of life that it acknowledges God will be blessed by him. Listen to these words of Moses as recorded in Deuteronomy 4 and verse 6. For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the peoples, who will hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what great nation is there that has God so near to it, as the Lord our God is to us, for whatever reason we may call upon him? The world has always needed a nation like this, and the need is even greater today. The United States has the unique opportunity to be that nation. But the opportunity may be slipping away. While the people of the world may envy America for its material prosperity, they're not saying this is a wise and understanding people. Even America's friends and allies are questioning America's resolve and reliability and the fundamental character of the country. They wonder if the United States is past its prime, a declining power. Is it a suitable nation to hold the position of leader of the free world? They worry that their U.S. ally may overlook their needs and security as it pursues its new relationship with Gorbachev's Russia. They worry that the American people will not be willing to face reality and do what has to be done about its monumental budget deficit. It will take more than just skillful policies from the new administration to close up the trade deficit, to reduce the colossal national debt, and to cut spending. It will take several years of discipline and self-sacrifice from the American people. Their prosperity has been maintained with borrowed money. Now the whole nation is deep in debt. The United States in the last decade has gone from being the world's leading creditor nation